Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I will be doing another episode recap for today's Days of Our Lives, August 6, 2024. Happy Independence to my country of birth, Jamaica. Hope you guys are having a great day. Special shout out to my Jamaicans, right? So anyways, we go into the first scene where we see Stephanie and Alex from yesterday's episode, right? So Alex moved out of the CEO position out of the office and he's moving back into his old place, right? So Stephanie is also there for a fresh start because of what happened to Everett. So she is moving back into her old apartment that she shared with Chad. So they exchange pleasantries and tell each other the same thing about, they're just moving back in, fresh start, all of that. So Stephanie decides to ask Alex to, just hang out, have a beer, just kind of talk about things, just kind of de-stress a bit. So he agrees and they leave out, right? So we see Gabby at the hospital visiting Rafe again, right? So she's just frustrated that he's not waking up. There's no new changes, no new developments. So she's tired of the tender love and care. She's just gonna be, blunt about it. She needs him to wake up right now, right? So she's just really frustrated at this point and just wishes that things could have been different, right? So then an unexpected visitor came in and it was Johnny, right? So she was surprised to see him out of everybody, right? But Johnny has a really good relationship with Rafe, considering that Rafe used to be his stepfather. And, he just offers his support at this time and just checking in on her and just wishing Rafe a speedy recovery, right? And then he begins to reminisce about his time as Rafe's stepson and him as his stepdad. And, he had really good memories with him, right? So in the same breath, he apologized to Gabby for how his father treated her, letting her stay in prison for a crime she didn't commit and not trying to help her a lot more. And she's surprised because she's like, aren't you upset that I outed him as not being the father of Jude and all that? So he's like, the truth deserves to come out, and he has to understand the errors of his ways, and hopefully he learned a lesson. So he's not mad about it. The truth had to come out, right? So yeah, they had a good moment, and he just wishes that Rafe would make a speedy turnaround at this point, right? So we'll move on to the next scene. So we see Paulina come into the commissioner's office, and we know that Jada is acting commissioner since Rafe is in the coma, right? So she's like, I got your text message, you had a new break in the case against Rafe stabbing. So she said yes. So Paulina sits down and Jada begins to fill her in on exactly what happened, what transpired with Bobby / Everett as the lead suspect in Rafe stabbing, and she questioned him and she let him go, and Paulina was like, why you let him go? And she was like, there was not much evidence to convict him and all that, to arrest him. So Stephanie comes in, she fills in Stephanie tries to take things on her own time, on her own lead, and she follows her, and they go into Bobby's room, and they see him passed out, over some pills, right? So she tells Paulina that he overdosed and he died as a result of it. So she was like, are you absolutely sure that Bobby / Everett was the person who stabbed Rafe? So she was like, absolutely sure, because she found the note and she found the gloves as evidence, right? So at this point, they're just presuming that he's the one that actually stabbed Rafe and killed Lee, right? So at this point, case is, abruptly closed. But anyways, Jada feels bad that, the man that she used to be involved with was the one who stabbed the man that she currently loves, and she's feeling guilty about it, and she just wishes that she didn't introduce this guy into Rafe's life. So Paulina's like, don't be so hard on yourself, right? It is not your fault. You did not know that he was this violent and all that. And she begins to share her violent history with her one of her ex, Lonnie's father, who was abusive to her and all that. So she began to understand that it wasn't her fault and all that. So she tries to sympathize with Jada and, comfort her, right? So anyways, we go over to Stefan, and Stefan thinks that Gabby was the one that was coming into the restaurant, but it was Ava. So he's surprised to see her. So he's like, what's up? So she's like, I need to talk to you about something. So he's like, is it about Gabby? So she's like, sort of. So she's like, she was talking about their affair with Kristen at the Demera office, right? So he's like, why would you really be talking about that in the office? So anyways, she feels like Connie, Gabby's new assistant, actually overheard her, but she's not entirely sure. And she's like, Kristen thinks that, she didn't hear anything, and then she's relatively new, she probably don't really understand what's going on. But Stefan is like, he don't want to hear that. He's hesitant about that because, like, that lady's Gabby's assistant. She could have heard it and want to spill that to Gabby, right? So he's like, you really let the nut job hear that? So let's just make a pact on it. Don't talk about this any further, right? Let it stay where it is. We do not need nobody else to find out about anything, because I already told Gabby that we only kissed twice to get her out of prison. And I'm like, Stefan, at this point, if you're gonna tell her that you kissed Ava twice, might as well just tell her that you slept with her, and just bite the bullet, let it go. It is what it is, right? Don't lie. Don't keep lying about this, right? Because she's going to find out, and it's going to be really ugly when she finds out. And Ava is getting really annoying to me, because every waking moment, every place she is blurting out the fact that she and Stefan had an affair. Like, she has a tendency over the past months to keep on blurting out some secret or so. She just doesn't know how to shut up about it, and it's annoying me. So anyways, Gabby comes in and kind of overhears a conversation, not too much actually. So she's like, Ava, what are you doing here? So Ava is like, I'm here to sign for you to sign some paperwork, but I realized that Connie already sent them over for you to sign. So she's like, yeah, I realized that Connie, even though she's new, she just likes to get the ball rolling. So anyways, Ava wishes them happy anniversary. She also asks how Rafe is doing and all that, and Gabby said no change. So anyways, Ava went on her merry way and leave the two of them to talk, right? So I should mention that Ava also told Stefan that Connie, Stefan already met Connie, and she brought over some paperwork for Gabby to sign, and he just didn't feel a good vibe about her, right? So Ava says she did not send the paperwork with Connie. Actually, she sent Connie to text the paperwork to Gabby. So, that in itself is suspicious. But again, she's like, oh, she's being naive. So she's like, oh, Connie probably can't harm a fly. She's probably just, a little weird, but that's it. Child. Anyways, let's go on. So now we see Gabby and Stefan, they're alone, and Gabby was asking Stefan if wasn't that really awkward, right? So then Gabby gets a call from Jada, and Jada actually fills her in on the fact that they found a suspect that was involved in Rafe's stabbing, and he was the one that actually did it. So she's surprised about it, and she can't believe that it truly happened. But Stefan was like, look at the good side. Actually, we actually found the killer, and he's dead. He can no longer hurt another soul. So let's find peace in that and move forward. So we see Johnny and Chanel, right? So Johnny is back from the hospital, and he, fills in Chanel about why he was there, checking on Gabby and Rafe. So she asks how is Rafe doing. So he's like, there hasn't been a change, and, Gabby's hanging in there. So she's like, Gabby must be going through a lot, with her brother and all that. So anyways, they begin to talk about him being a director in this new soap opera. So he begins to, watch some old videos of the soap opera on YouTube just to kind of get an idea of what he's really directing. And he begins to like compare it to the real life drama in Salem, and what his dad did and what his dad went through, believing that the baby died, and then it being Sloan and Eric's, and then turns out it's actually Nicole and Eric's. And then he talks about how his cousin Teresa let Alex believe that he was the heir to the Kiriakis throne and all that. So he compared the drama with that to the soap opera that's on YouTube, right? Body and Soul, right? So Chanel is like, I hope Alex is actually being comforted, or have the support that he needs to get through it. And Johnny wishes the same for him as well. So speaking of Alex and Stephanie, they're at the pub, they're sharing some beer, and Alex begins to talk about how he's feeling, and just going through the motions of finding out that he was Victor's son, then finding out that he's not Victor's son, and then actually just losing everything with it, the CEO title, the money, just everything about it, right? So he's just wallowing in that. And Stephanie's like, look on the good side, at least you get Justin back as your dad, and he's like, he's happy about that, but he's just like, it's just a lot to process, just twice in 1 year, all of that, right? So Stephanie understands, and then Stephanie, he's like, enough about me, what about you? So she begins to tell him about what happened with Everett, and how Everett overdosed, and he's no longer there. And he's like, I'm really sorry to hear that. Here I am talking about my problems, and look at you. And she's like, it's all right, you didn't know. So she's just like, she still can't believe it. She still can't wrap her mind around it, that he's really gone, and he wouldn't want this to happen. So it's really Bobby's idea of taking away their life and all that. So she just can't seem to fathom why it happened, or So we move on to the next scene. So we see Jada at the hospital bed, visiting Rafe, and she begins to tell him about actually finding the person responsible for his stabbing, or so she thinks, right? So she's just really feeling guilty about it, and she's apologetic about bringing Everett / Bobby around Rafe, and this actually resulting in him being stabbed. So that was that with her, right? So we move on to the next scene. So we go to Connie, and Connie's at the apartment that Lee used to be in, right? So again, she's having this deluded conversation with Lee, and she's talking about she had a long day at work, and she had a good time meeting her co-workers and all that. So it was a very productive day. So he's like, you're leaving out the fact that you murdered Everett, right? So she's like, what are you talking about? So he's like, you murdered Everett, right? So she's like, yeah, I can't get anything up past you, but he had to go. He was about to tell Jada that I stabbed Rafe, and I killed you, so I needed him to go. So at this point, she also mentioned that she had an interesting day at work, and she guess what she found out. So he was like, what did you find out? So she's like, she found out that Ava and Stefan had an affair. Stefan cheated on Gabby, so she's sitting on the secret. So he's like, why didn't you tell Gabby? So she's patient, she's just waiting on the right time to burst the secret, but she's gonna wait till Gabby gets more and more comfortable that her husband is loyal and trustworthy. So she's just waiting to really drop that bomb, later down, right? And she's gonna try and get Gabby and Ava to be friends. So, they're that close where, once the secret comes out, it's gonna be truly hurtful, right? So she's just, planning this elaborate scheme, and, talking to Lee in her deluded mind and all that. So yeah, I'm not gonna hold you long on this part, So she said, it's time to get to bed, and she takes a cutout of him, because she actually has a cutout of Lee in the apartment. So it seems as if it was a cutout she was talking to all along. It wasn't just imaginary delusion in her mind, right? So she took the cutout to the bed, and that was it, right? Boy, I'm just so sick of this character. I really need her to go. I'm tired of her at this point. They need to find her out at this point. So that is it, guys. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow for an all new recap. Hope you guys have a great day. Happy Independence Day again to my Jamaicans. I'll see you tomorrow.